Here's the ginger.
Thank you.
So, I'm non-binary.
What does that mean?
It means I don't feel like a man or a woman.
If you are neither a man nor a woman, then what are you?
Non-binary. I just said, and I'm going to use they instead of she from now on.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. Was anybody else as uncomfortable watching that as I was? That's like... Sorry, folks. I don't even know how to start with this. So that is from a game called Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Okay, this is a AAA gaming title. Like, Dragon Age was a beloved franchise, beloved series by tons of people who love games like The Witcher and Skyrim and what else? You know, people who like D&D, people who like fantasy, who like escapism, Dungeons, Dragons, fantasy-style stuff, right? That's what happens when you insert modern politics and modern real-world issues in a fantasy game. It's weird. It's uncomfortable. It's dumb. I mean, instead of focusing on the gameplay and telling an interesting story, we want to focus on politics and plot lines where characters can shame each other over their sexual orientation. We get to have, it's everything you ever dreamed of. It's like, I can't wait to have an uncomfortable conversation at the table with my mom about my sexual identity. I mean, that is gripping, compelling gameplay right there. Okay?
No, we don't want to be slaying dragons and defeating bosses. No, we want to be talking about our friends and their sexual orientation.
Yeah, talk about taking the fantasy out of fantasy. I mean, the whole point of video games is about escapism, about having fun. It's like, and then they insert modern day politics or modern day agendas into games, and again, it destroys the fantasy, it destroys the illusion, it destroys the immersion. Again, it's like whenever you watch a movie where there's like a girl boss character in it, you're just like, oh my god, like, you know. You can only believe that there are so many Black Widows in the world until you're like, so is every woman just Black Widow? Every woman can kick a 290-pound, like, beefy, muscled-up dude's butt, no problem?
Mm-hmm.
So it's absolutely nuts. It's absolutely insane. And, it is nuts that these gaming companies are dumping millions in this is what's been going on. Companies like BlackRock are invested in companies like this company that created Dragon Age, and they have DEI requirements, and they have DEI story initiatives and stuff that they have been implementing.
Bonuses. They give bonuses to people who do DEI.
Yeah, again, so remember, we've told you this before. Like, I mean, like CEOs, like let's say insurance company CEOs. Doesn't matter what CEO of what company you are. So you could be Walmart, could be State Farm, it could be what's a good other big Apple, whoever. If they hire a certain number of racial minorities, that CEO gets to bonus himself an additional $4 million that year, regardless of whether or not the company's profitable.
Yep. But getting back to what's going on, the big news in this Dragon Age, this game has only been out for 4 months. 4 months. And it's already free to play. That's how bad it is. And this goes to show you like the difference between the critics and the audience. Like I said, there is a huge disconnect between critics and audience ranking things.
And it's been this way for a long time.
Yeah,
like,
this
again,
is basically what Gamergate was about.
We've talked about this with movie reviews too. It's like whenever crappy movies get fantastic reviews, it's because these journalists, these game journalists or these critics want early access to games and movies. So it very similar to the movie thing. It's like, well, you can come to our movie premiere, but it's like if a YouTube critic gets to go to a movie screening or a movie opening, they go, you can come, but if you say nice things about our movie, guess what? You get to keep coming. If you come out and you can't say anything bad about our movie, we'll never invite you back again.
That's how Disney does it with movie reviews. Like if you review their movie and it's positive, you can release it before the movie comes out. But if it's negative, you can't release it till like 3 days after?
3 days until the movie's already gone. So that way you don't waste. They want you to waste your money on opening weekend. And that's the problem. It's the same way with game reviewers, but it's even worse because, I mean, like we've talked about Gamergate on here before. It's like a lot of these game reviewers are actually game developers as well, and they give each other pat on the backs, going, oh, this is a great game, 10 out of 10, epic storytelling, great gameplay. And then people play it and they go, this sucks. And it's like the journalists have been lying to us. So for a lot of you who aren't initiated and don't really know anything about games or, culture like this, it means nothing to you. But what I'm telling you is it's the exact same as the movie industry. A lot of these game critics are giving them good scores because they want to pat each other on the back and stay in these tight-knit social groups that they have so they can just keep hiring each other to do the job over and over and over again.
And from what those of you who are watching and not watching and just listening, again, the critic score has given it an 82% rating, and it was based on the score of 73 critics. And then we have the user scores, which is almost 8,000, and it's 0.39, so almost 4 on their score. So what is this huge disconnect between the people and the critics here?
Again, it's so strange. I mean, for the video games cases, it's purely financial reasons that these people do this. It's like, the critics give it a score really high because they want to keep getting employed. Again, most of these critics are, game developers as well, and they're part-time jobs. So it's a pat on the back thing. When it comes to movie reviews, it's literally, it's A, it's politics, but B, it's also because the plebes like you, the average consumer, the average moviegoer, is not smart enough to understand why this film is so artful and so impactful. It's just you just can't understand. You just haven't been initiated into cinema enough. You just don't get it. You're just a plebe. You don't know any better. Your tastes aren't as refined as theirs. You're not anointed. You're not chosen. They know better than you. And again, that's why they can put crap out and then blame you for not liking it. It's like, well, it's your fault you don't understand it. It's like, okay, yeah, it's not just that your film wasn't entertaining. And again, the number of films that were like ahead of their time are very few and far between. Like a good example of a movie that was really just ahead of its time was The Thing. And it didn't help that, like big-time critics like Roger Ebert and all those guys used to give them bad reviews, being like, this is just a gross remake, there's nothing great about it. It's like, but then you watch like John Carpenter's version of it, and you're like, the John Carpenter's The Thing, released in 1988 with Kurt Russell. It's like, it's one of the most amazing horror films of all time. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that's like cult followings get a cult following, and like, again, they were just ahead of their time, but because A, it just came out whenever there was another really big movie that just took its spot in the theater. But again, it's very rare that the audience get it wrong and the critics get it wrong, but then the audience changes their mind later. Nobody's going to change their mind about this game. And again, talking about games that get released, right? Like, I still have to pay money for games that were released 10 years ago on the Xbox store. Like Star Wars, like Battlefront, they make you pay for that. Like games that were even released back in 2001, 2002, 2003, they still charge you $10-$20 for those games on the Xbox store, or on Steam or wherever. Like, that's how capitalistic and how money driven these studies are. Like, all those studios are still making money off games released 30 years ago. This game right here, so crappy, such a financial flop that they're giving it away for free now. Like, that's unheard of. I mean,
4 months.
4 months. Like, I mean, you don't get to see a game like something this big get a discount until like 4 years later.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah, you'll only see games go down in price like this if they are god awful. I mean, free to play. This game is free to play after only being 4 months old.
Yeah. So
that's something that's like in the wheelhouse, like maybe after like a year or two.
Yeah. So yeah, we better get in and start watching these videos.
But the big issue now that we're having with this is, like, we always make the thing is they're coming for your kids.
Yes.
They're putting this in video games. They're specifically coming and marketing this stuff to children to try to brainwash your children.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing you brought that up. I totally let that slip over my head. Again, this game's like you or me. We're not going to play this game. Like, this game wasn't on my radar. I've never played the other Dragon Age games. I was more Halo, more shooters, Call of Duty, this kind of stuff. But I mean, this is stuff marketed at your kids. I mean, so you're going to be sitting there. It's like all of a sudden your kid's watching. It's like, oh, I'm going to pull a buff, Mom. Like pull the bar for what? It's like they are indoctrinating your kids to, again, death by tolerance. Because you're a good you want to be a good nice person, right? Well, guess what? We're gonna show kids in this gameplay and how these interactions go with these characters, how they should act in real life to people who abuse them.
Yep. Well, that's this first video I have pulled up right here. Is they have top scars that you can add in this character design in a fantasy world game where transgenderism really shouldn't be a thing, especially transgender surgery.
Yeah, go ahead and play it. We'll catch you on the other end.
Top surgery scars are also included in this for all of our trans and non-binary rooks out there. I absolutely was blown away by this. It's beautiful to see the inclusion in the game and to see yourself represented.
If you're a parent right now with a daughter or son, and your son or daughter who's 7 or 8 years old starts character select screen and sees this option for top surgery scars and they, them, and then they ask you as a parent, what does this mean, Daddy? What does this mean, Mommy? What are you going to say? How the hell are you going to explain it? That's the problem with this. Hello?
Top surgery scars are...
So, again, this is a fantasy game. In this fantasy game, this world that it exists in has magic in it. Swords and sorcery. What do you need surgery scars if you can change your appearance with magic? I mean, again, take the fantasy out of fantasy. You know what I want to see? I want to see my top surgery scars on my character if I decide to go shirtless so everyone knows that I used to have tits there. I mean, how crazy is that, guys? I mean, that's nuts. I mean, this is a magical fantasy world. I mean, like, in magical fantasy world, even in X-Men, you know, like, Mystique can shapeshift between boys and girls. Like, I mean, to hide. I mean, it's pseudo-magic. So, why can't you just cast a spell and be like, I transform... No, like Harry Potter. You know, it's like they changed their appearance to look like Crabbe and Goyle with the Polyjuice potion, you know? Hermione got turned into a cat, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, magic exists in this fantasy world video game. And, of course, they want to take out the fantasy and just go, look, transgender top surgery scars. That way you can feel like you actually exist in this world. Like, and pardon me if I get this wrong, but isn't the point of, like, transitioning so that no one knows you were what you were? But then again, you know, I've seen guys who think they're girls with full-grown beards and tits, so, I mean, I don't know what the purpose is anymore.
Yeah. Well, here is the scene in question that everyone, like, has seen. I've got a couple more of these queued up, but this is the one that I guess happens, like, kind of, like, right away in the series, like, and it's immediate, and people are like, you know, it's one of those scenes that you're like, why is this in here? Seems like it's literally stopping the plot just to give me this bogus information right now.
Yeah.
Pounding that snake's nose. She's still holding the ruby in her other hand. Maker's panties. I was so proud.
Oh,
Ah, shit. They're still holding it.
My
Sorry.
God.
What are you doing? Pulling a barb. Oh. Okay.
a barv.
Tradition in the Lords of Fortune from one of our old members, Barv. Good guy, but like most of us, his plans went sideways a lot. Bad blood among your crew's not good for morale, but there's not always time for big, drawn-out apologies. So, when one of us screws up and we know we've screwed up, we do a quick 10 to put it right. Pulling a barv.
There you go.
There we go.
Indoctrination, courtesy of a video game for your children.
I'm glad the Lords of Fortune have Tarsh's back.
Oh, Tarsh isn't the first non-binary member of the Lords.
Really?
It was a little before your time, but Horlicks was one of ours. Huh. Bastard looked better than I did in a dress or pants. And out of them, too.
Very uber gay.
Any
Again.
reason you can't just apologise?
Sometimes people say, oops, sorry, and hope that fixes it. But they just want to get the whole thing over with. Trust me, I know. But pulling a barv, you sweat a little. Makes you think about it a little more. Shows the other person you mean it.
What if they mean it when they
Self-flagellating.
say they're sorry, though?
And that's the other reason. Some people mess up and get all dramatic. They make it about them. Oh, you know, I didn't mean it right. I'd never do that on purpose. They feel so bad about it that
definitely
it's on everyone
propaganda
else
for
to
your
smooth
kids,
it over
man.
and make them feel better.
Oh, okay. Yes, some people might do that.
Pulling a barv puts it on the person who screwed up. They made the mess, they fix it, done.
How many kids are pulling barbs at the school lunchroom now? You know what I mean? I mean, how many kids are just like, oh, I love this game. I love these characters. I mean, you know, there's a very small minority of kids who probably like this game and have been indoctrinated. But, you know, I mean, that was cringe to watch. I mean, that hurt me to watch that. Mm-hmm. It's like, again, the game is not about the gameplay. It's about how it makes you feel.
Yeah. Yeah, this next one I've pulled up is like, this character cares so much about being misgendered, like throughout this whole thing. Look, we'll even, actually, I think I'll just show the other ones too real quick.
Yeah.
Go back to this screen. Yeah, this character gets so angry anytime someone misgenders them.
Barely even wearing a shirt.
You fight Anton with a
Uh-oh.
So much for that fiber.
Everything all right?
We're fine. Just trading fashion tips. So what I wear is a problem for you?
It's not. It's just... Why dress like that? Are you trying to make your mother happy?
Tosh, what's going on?
This is what we want to talk
Something
about.
is clearly bothering you.
My bet's on mothers and dresses.
It's just something my mother said the other day. And I act more like a man than a woman.
And you feel like you should wear dresses to make her happy?
No. Can you imagine me in a dress? I'd look stupider than I'd look stupid.
This isn't about the dress, is it?
No, it's...
Wow, what an
I don't
inclusive
know.
line of
She
dialogue for your
always
character
says
to
stuff
say.
like that. About how I dress, how I act.
And?
It feels... right. When she says I act more like a man. It feels... right. Why does it feel right?
Tosh, do you like being a woman?
Nobody likes being a woman. This is stupid. Forget I said anything.
I wish we could. But
Your
I guess
kids are playing this game.
Yeah. No, nobody's playing this game. That's why it's free.
Something about being a woman is hurting you. I don't think it's stupid
yes,
at all.
like
But what
this
does it
character
mean?
gets
It could be about
uber
mother's
like
expectations or how
offended
it
by
feels to be a woman
everything
in Canary.
that anybody does, misgenders them, whatever. And which brings me to this next point right here that they point out, rightfully so, right here, which you'll like this.
Okay.
I need one of these little needle things. Death Mage won't give me one.
It's Emmerich, Tosh, not Death Mage, not Corpse Guy.
How hilarious that the person who literally wants someone to not misgender them and call them by a certain name is now calling someone by a different name they don't want to be called. What?
What? You are a Death Mage.
Because that's what you met with scorn. What have I done to you?
Emmerich would appreciate not being bullied and called names.
Ugh. Fine.
I can't bully people!
I have no idea, Necromancer.
Push Tosh and Emmerich to find new topics of discussion between them. What am I, their f***ing mother? Why don't we push both of them off a cliff?
I need one of these little needle things. Death Mage won't.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. Like, the person who's like, you call me the wrong thing, I'm going to be upset,
Yeah.
and the whole game is going to stop, pause, talk about my feelings.
Yeah.
Is literally dead naming somebody.
But I mean, again, it just goes to show you. I mean, like transgenders are the new anointed people. They're the new chosen people. Like, rules for thee, but not for me. We are the oppressed minority. Therefore, we can do what we want. We can treat people the way we want. We don't have any consequences for our actions. Then you get the, if something happens to them, it's like, oh, woe is me. So it is absolutely insane that, like, people thought that this was a good idea. Just like that Dustborn game. It's like,
Yeah.
the
EU approved video game.
Anything that DEI touches, it destroys. I mean, get broke, go woke. The title of the video today.
Get woke, go broke.
I mean, this is what happens. You push a woke ideology into fantasy. I mean, imagine if instead of Conan the Barbarian, like the original Conan, the good Conan with, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like instead of him being a revenge story where all he does is he trains to get strong, he becomes a slave fighter, fights the pits, bangs women. It's like, what is best in life, Conan? You know, it's like, and what if instead it was like, talk about your feelings, instead of crush your enemies and hear the lamentations of their women, you know? It's like, it was, well, talk about your feelings, try to not misgender people, and make peace with everyone. It's like, that's not a good story. That does not make, you know, I mean, like, the only good story that was ever told like that was the story of Jesus, the good news of the Bible. You know, it's like everything else. It's like, there's got to be some conflict. There's got to be some, and again, even Jesus suffered in the Bible. So
yeah, this next one is probably the last one. I have a bunch of other like video clips of her just being like super insufferable. I've already got rid of a couple of them. But we'll show this. Like, this is not just one time. She bullies everybody in the show. You know, and like when we're supposed to forgive her for being a bully because she's non-binary.
Yeah, I know. And again, the bully can bully, but if she gets bullied, it's not okay because again, she's a minority group. She's the trans character. She's the non-binary character. Therefore, she is oppressed, despite the fact the character is towering and terrifying. You know, like, I mean, it looks like a giant demon.
Yeah, basically. Let's check it out.
Tash is one of the most unlikable characters I've come across in any RPG.
She seems nice.
Throughout the game, Tash actively harasses my other teammates for what they are,
Sorry I called you a skull.
who they are,
Death Mage won't give me one.
It's Emmerich, Tash.
or what they wear.
So what I wear is a problem for you?
Tash just doesn't give a crap.
What? I wasn't listening.
Tash completely ignores my orders,
They haven't seen us yet. We can run.
Hey!
and it sounds unbelievable, but I have to actually step in and tell Tash not to bully my teammates.
Emmerich would appreciate not being bullied.
Ugh.
Turns out Tash is non-binary,
So I'm non-binary.
and wants everyone to refer to them with their pronouns instead of she/her. But I find it a bit hypocritical after Tash hasn't respected my other teammates at a basic level for who they are. Check out my Dragon Age the Veilguard full video review for more. Tash is one of the most unlikable characters.
Well, there you go. Again, they sum it up perfectly. So again, these people who are they're not good writers. You know, it's like they go, well, a good character has flaws, but yeah, it's like a good character has character development, and the only development they have is, well, I don't like it when it happens to me, but it's okay when I do it to everybody else.
Yep.
Like, there's no development there. That's a flat line.
Yep. It's pretty bad. And which gets to, I'll get to these funny ones here in a little bit, but the next point that I have over here is this is in almost all video games now at some level or another. Sometimes it's just one character, sometimes like it's a scene, but here we go. Here, I just typed this in. Games that support LGBTQ folks. And so we have The Last of Us 2, which we all knew that one. That one also failed really hard.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of a lot of these. Dream Daddy, which that sounds horrifying. Night in the Woods, Undertale, Dragon Age Inquisition, which that was the one before this one, and there's only one character, from what I remember, that was
Super
bisexual.
pro, yeah.
It was super strange. But it didn't matter whoever the character was.
Yeah.
Whoever the player character was. A Normal Lost Phone, when I was a teenage, whatever, Outer Worlds, Life is Strange, Gone Home. I mean, and so many of these games, and like games are specifically marketed towards children and teenagers. So this is these media companies trying to indoctrinate your children.
Yeah.
And like here's another list of some right here. I mean, you can go through all this. Where is it? I'm pretty sure there it is. Spider-Man 2. What we just talked about the other day is that they support trans ideology. Night in the Woods, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I mean, so many things in here where there's, you know, they're trying to make it to where this stuff's supposed to be acceptable by your children. Like, you know, it's okay. Just come be one of us.
Yeah. Again, entertainment, it's marketed at your kids. Like, I mean, you're not going out and playing games. Like, I mean, there are people that game. Like, I game with my friends, but, you know, we're playing Halo and shooter games, or we're playing survival horror games. You know, we're not playing things that's like, we're not playing games where we're talking about, you know, being non-binary across the dinner table, or coming out to your mom about being trans. You know, like, this is not the kind of entertainment people want. You know, like the type of entertainment, like gripping stories in video games are a good thing, but none of that was gripping. Like again, we are pandering to the 0.01% of our population. And again, and the reason this keeps growing, or like I said again, remember, they don't have their own kids, they recruit yours. So that's what this is. This is just a recruiting tool for more kids. You know, it's like all of a sudden a kid who has no defining personality, doesn't stand out from the crowd at school, he's not a particularly good athlete, not particularly gifted educationally. Well, how are they going to stand out? Well, they've been indoctrinated enough to be like, oh, I like this video game, so now I'm going to come out and identify as trans or non-binary. That way now I stand out. I'm different from my peers now. Mm-hmm. Again, it's like that meme you showed the other day. Ugly people, you know, and it's like calling themselves they them. You know, it's like they them pills. You know, it's like boom. Now I have something interesting and unique about me.
Yeah. So here's even a list of gay, trans, queer characters in video games just on Wikipedia. I mean, it's massive amounts. Every character has to be, you know, gay or trans.
Do me a favor,
or something.
pull up a list of every straight character. But seriously, like, you can't, because it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But you know, some gay person or some trans person cataloged all of this just so they could show people, look how many gay people and characters there are in games now. Like, that's how crazy these people are. I cataloged every single gay character and put it all on Wikipedia so gay people could come there and be like, oh, thank God we're represented. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're not going to find me going, hey, Chad, go Wikipedia all the straight characters in every video game. Like, that it's really important that I know that. You know, it's like, why? It doesn't matter. Again, video games, it's escapism. It's entertainment. You're supposed to be out there shooting and having fun and trying to survive, you know?
If the main objective is focusing on someone's sexuality in a video game, you're playing the wrong game.
Yeah, you know? It's nuts. You know, if you're not racing or not Mario Kart, you're not playing Mario Tennis, you're not playing Master Chief, you're not trying to survive a Covenant onslaught, you're not trying to Left 4 Dead, you're not trying to survive a zombie horde.
Yep.
Like, what's the point? You know, it's like, I mean, we're going to, again, this game, we're going to talk about our feelings, but this is how, you know, like, gaming's kind of become, what do you say? And again, I'm not saying girls can't game. I've played games with girls all the time. Like, I mean, like Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th, like, I had you know, like we had parties full of girls playing those games, like, and it was fun. Like, you'd go around, you'd fight, and you'd try to survive. Somebody's playing as Jason, you kill everybody else, or if you're playing Dead by Daylight, you're trying to run away from the hillbilly with the chainsaw. You know, it's like it's fun. You know, it's like you can have fun, but you can tell that a lot of these storytellers are female based on, oh, we have to make people feel good. Like, this conversation has to flow in a very female-friendly environment.
Yep. Well, I just end it with the last couple of memes here, and then we can get right in the show. But yeah, this is a great meme that I found this morning. Everyone and BioWare trying to hand off Dragon Age is great. Check it out.
I want you to have it.
I don't really want this.
I want you to have it.
I love it.
I don't really want this.
Oh my God, that is so good. Because I mean, how true is that? That's a perfect meme. Like, again, unheard of. No game in modern or recent history have I ever heard. I mean, what about is that Dustborn? Is it free, or they just took it off the sell list, right?
I'm pretty sure it's free to play, but yeah, it's not. I don't even think it's available anymore.
Guys, AAA games do not go free to play after. I mean, unless, which this game is not. It's not like Fortnite. Like, Fortnite's free to play because online and you pay for the skins. The skins and the season passes are what pay for it. This is not that kind of game. This is a story game with the campaign, and choices that you make affect the narrative of the story.
Yep.
This is not an online game where you buy more skins. I mean, I'm sure they probably had some downloadable skins or something, but it's not that kind of game. Like, you paying the 60, 70, whatever the ridiculous sum of money is to buy a game now, that's what they get. That's the only way they make their revenue back. And they only had this game on sale for 4 months. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, okay, it's free. We're not making any money off of it. Nobody's buying.
Which brings me to my next meme is, this is why you need to keep track of what your kids are doing, playing, and being a part of online.
Yeah, again, it's like what we said before. It's the same thing as your school. Like, go to your kid's school. meet your teachers. Look at the things that their teachers have in their classroom. If you go into a teacher's class and you see a bunch of LGBTQ flags and stuff, you're like, I think my kid needs to be in a different teacher's class. Yeah. Same goes that you need to ask them what they learned at school that day, what their interactions with their friends were like, what their friends talk about. And then also, don't just give your kids a credit card and just give them their Xbox or that computer and just say, download whatever games you want. Monitor their games.
Yeah.
Be a part of their lives. You know, it's like, again, if your kid turns into a nut job, it's probably because you weren't monitoring them enough. You know, it's like you can't just say, do whatever you want all the time.
Here's the other thing, too, is like, don't let them have the game like immediately. Wait like a couple of days. There's going to be somebody on YouTube that's reviewed it, and you can find out if there's anything on there.
Absolutely review. You know, watch reviews of it. I mean, if you go out and you watch a movie review, which is what I do. I watch the Critical Drinker before I go see any movie. I'm like, hey, if Critical Drinker says it's good, I'm going to go see it. If he doesn't say it's good, probably not going to waste my money.
Or that, what's his name? See It Drunk or whatever his name is, that guy.
Oh,
Would Watch Drunk.
Yeah,
whatever his name is.
Would Watch Drunk. Jeremy Johns.
Jeremy Johns, that's right.
But again, it's the same for video games. There are tons of video game review channels. Just literally type in the video game's name, watch a couple of reviews on it, and see what they're saying about the game.
Yep. But, so as you can see here, they're like, ooh, groomers, and it's clearly a liberal person keeping their kid away from church, but he takes them right into a drag show.
Drag show, yeah. Again, the people who develop these games, that's their mentality right there. Disgusting. My kids are going to get molested if they go to church, and then they go and they take their kids to a drag show, and it's like to go visit. Like, the church is very low chance that there's going to be a predator in the church. Not saying there's zero chance. Like I said, we know that the church has done some bad stuff, but it's people in the church, not the entire church. And then you go to a drag show where it's like, these guys are convicted criminals, pedophiles, rapists, but no, it's culturally enriching to take them there. Again, the same people developing these video games going, this is culturally enriching. This is entertainment. This indoctrination of your kids. So, yeah, it's disgusting, man.
Next one I have here is a good question from from Garbage Human. Says, my girlfriend and I are kissing in front of preachers at a South Carolina Pride event. And it's, of course, it's like the Westboro Baptist types that are saying, homosexuality is a sin, Jesus saves from hell, all that. And they're kissing in front of him. And he asked the question, Human Garbage asked the question, now be really brave and go do it in front of a mosque.
Yeah. Again, bravery only goes as far as their intolerance for Christianity. They would never do that in front of Muslims. They would never do that in front of a mosque because they know the social reprisals. It's like, I think Ben Shapiro had one of the best quips I ever heard whenever he was at UCLA, talking about the vote against the deposition or the what do they call it? What do you call it when you boycott Israel or whatever?
Yeah.
He goes, I guess all of you have forgotten which country has any religious or sexual diversity in it. I mean, for those of you who are trying to boycott Israel, I guess you all have forgotten how high they hang gays in Palestine. It's like, because they did. They hang them from flagpoles. Yeah, they find out you're homosexual. It's like, well, tie a noose around their neck and lift them up the flagpole. They're going to have a good time hanging out, Again, it's nuts. Again, they hate Christians, but they don't have any real bravery because they know Christians were taught to turn the other cheek. Again, it's like when the Westboro Baptist people were here. It's like nobody wants to interview them. Nobody wants to talk to them. And they go, they're just evil, bad people. It's like, look, I understand you think that what they say is uncouth, but have they ever hurt anyone? Has the Westboro Baptist people ever gone out and started beating up gay people or hitting soldiers' families? Yes, they yell abuses at soldiers' families at funerals. But that's all. That's as far as it goes. Because their belief in when they read the scripture is they go, yeah, that's violence. All violence is wrong. So it's absolutely nuts. Again, not defending Westboro Baptist Church, but what I'm saying is they don't harm people. They don't physically harm people.
Yeah. And then this next one is just a bit of good news from the Star Wars world is Kathleen Kennedy will reportedly be stepping down as her role as president of Lucasfilm at the end of 2025.
Praise God.
Except that's still a long ways away at the end of 2025. And she's already done irreparable harm
and
to
she's
the
like,
franchise.
I'll appoint my successor too, another strong, independent woman, but this one will be of color, something like that. Again, It took a strong, independent woman to destroy the Star Wars franchise. You know, I mean, we all got lured into that false sense of security with J.J. Abrams with The Force Awakens, you know, because it was the original movie just with a different skin.
The Force's female was DEI being forced into Star Wars.
Yeah, that was I mean, that was it. That was the beginning of the end, you know, and then she appointed the Flavor of the Month director, Ryan Johnson, and boy, he just took a dump on the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I never thought I would want to walk out. I almost walked out of the theater in the what was JJ? I don't even remember. See, I don't even remember what
the Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. I can't even remember the names of the Star Wars movies. That's how. And I love Star Wars. I mean, I have Star Wars stuff behind me right here.
Yeah, well, you know what the crazy part is I still haven't seen the final one of Star
I mean, what's
Wars.
the point? After I watched this Ryan
Last
Johnson's
Jedi,
The Last Jedi, I was like, dude, this franchise is dead. I went to go see the anthology films because I thought Rogue One was pretty decent. Solo was a forgettable action film, you know. What else is coming? I guess The Mandalorian was the one glimmer of hope, but like, I mean, season 3 really just, you know, took a dump, you know. Because they should have just left Grogu away. Like, Grogu should have just stayed with Luke and never come back. You know, it's like that way Mando could have gone out and done more adult adventuring.
But it's like you said. It's like they realized, oh no, if Grogu stays with Luke, he's gonna die.
Yeah, they're like, we can't have that. You know, it's like, we like this. He's the only character that's been profitable in this franchise, the Grogu. So if he dies, and we know he dies in the future, nobody's gonna watch this damn series anymore. So it's nuts, man. It's nuts. But they don't know what they're doing. They never have. I mean, I was watching a thing, and I actually used to have a Mandalorian poster, and it was a calendar. It was my calendar for last year, and they expected nothing of the Mandalorian. They didn't think it was going to be popular. That's how you know. Like, so all the marketing material for Grogu, or Baby Yoda as they called him, it was all screenshots of the show. Like, there was no material. There was no so the first stuff that came out of Grogu was fan-made material. It was like people doing their own sewing and stitching, and like Disney didn't have anything prepped for Grogu. That's how little faith they had in the project.
Yeah, they're like they really thought porgs were gonna take off.
Kathleen Kennedy's porgs, the things that Chewbacca was roasting over a fire in The Last Jedi. Again, another stupid thing. You know, it's like it was all done. Like, you could just tell it was crap because it was all done for gags in Ryan Johnson's movie. It's like, it's a joke. They're treating this franchise like a joke. Like, it was so bad. You know, it's like the comic levity from the other films were the droids or Jar Jar. I mean, like, and then everything, and then for the the new movies, everything was the joke. You know, it's like, again, how
the
is
whole franchise was the joke.
Kathleen Kennedy was the joke. Yeah,
exactly.
Again, they destroyed Star Wars. I mean, it took a strong independent woman to destroy the franchise. So that's how strong she was. She was so strong she destroyed a multi-billion-dollar franchise. But yeah, it's truly sad what the state of Star Wars right now. You know, I mean, like, and think about this. You know, people thought the state of the prequel trilogy was bad, and then they saw this and they're like, okay, yeah, well, but I guess it can't get any worse. Yeah. Don't say that. It's going to get worse.
Well, if we take it out of George Lucas's hands, it couldn't get any worse, could it?
Yeah. Oh, my God. But, yeah, again, this is what happens when people who don't know what and again, the stuff that she said about the franchise, too. You know, it's like, there is no expanded universe. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I read all the Star Wars books as a kid. I read all the stuff about Mara Jade.
Zhang Vong would have been the coolest, bad guys. Like, I mean, that was literally like maybe like the Emperor wasn't so bad. He was trying to protect the galaxy from the Zhang Vong.
Yeah, he felt this presence of evil in the distance, and they were force resistant.
And for those of you who don't know, like, Zhang Vong are people who are completely resistant to the Force and like are cannibalistic in nature.
Oh, horse nonsense! You're just making that up. You're talking about the China virus. That's what you're talking about. You're talking about the Zhang Vong. Of course, you know it sounds Chinese in origin, doesn't it?
It is. That's the problem.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But anyway, we went way over. I thought we were just going to talk about the game, but then it's like I didn't know you had that Kathleen Kennedy thing in there. I could go off and talk about
it was relevant to DEI ruining
Yeah, that's
media.
True. It is. It's true. DEI, I mean, again, diversity, equity, inclusion. It ruins everything it touches. DEI, instead of DEI, it needs to be DIE. Die. Everything DEI touches, it dies. So, and again, that goes for planes, and pilots and
Yeah.
everything in life, you know.
We could easily bring that up tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's about all I got for you today. We ran way over the time that we thought we were going to go, but that's about all I've got for you. This is the Twins with Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. That's all I've got for you. God bless you.
See you later, everybody.
The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is full of degenerates. When you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of the woke system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to pick up a biology textbook. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on their pronouns that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the dude in the red dress? A dude? Look again. Who is it?
That wasn't a woman?
No.
It's another training program designed to teach you one thing. If you are not one of us, you might marry one of them.
What are they?
Transformers. They can move in and out of any gender, regardless of their chromosomes. That means that anyone coming out of the female bathroom is potentially a ladyboy. Inside the Matrix, they can identify as anything, but in reality, it's just delusion.